What's up, everybody? I'll tell you one thing that's not up is any crypto. So I'm going to go over my thoughts on this market, this extreme correction that we're experiencing right now, and give you my thoughts and my outlook on the future. So I'm seeing a lot on different Reddits and Bitcoin talk and YouTube comments and emails and stuff. Is this the end of crypto? Is it all over? And my thoughts on that is no, but it's over for the time being of the times where we're thinking it's going to 100K, it's going to 200K, it's going to a million. And all of that, in my opinion, is still very possible in the future, but we're talking years at this point, and it probably will happen sooner, but we're definitely in a bear market now. And these coins, all of them, literally all of them, got overbought, and they got pushed so far out ahead of what their technology was actually achieving in the real world. And people got greedy, and the smart money was taking profits, and they started taking profits, and then everybody started freaking panic selling and going crazy, and rightfully so, because a Bitcoin is probably not worth $20,000 today. It's just not. Well, it's definitely not worth $20,000 today. The going rate is 6,522. And this is something that we all have to understand. And with such a tiny market, the volatility is going to be insane. And that's just due to the amount of volume that is being traded throughout these different coins. And it's just that simple. They got overbought. They were far ahead of what their true value was, and people got greedy. And that's okay. This happened in the past. But before we go into the past, I'm going to look at the present. And this was that descending wedge that we were tracking for quite a while. We broke through on the downside, so we have successfully confirmed that we are definitely going downhill, and this is no longer true. So with this increased volume that we were seeing over the past few days, it worried me a little bit because I didn't think we were quite finished in this region. And for there to be an increase in volume so soon, it sort of looked bearish, and it's so hard to tell. So it's so much harder. Everybody was a genius in this area. And everybody's like, oh yeah, it's going to the moon. And great. But this is where it counts to be a genius. And anybody who tells you they know where this bottom's going to end, they know, they have their buy orders set and everything, they're all just blowing smoke because nobody knows. Unless you have, $100 billion to sink into Bitcoin, and, and when you're putting that order in, you are controlling the market because you are buying the entire market cap. So if somebody's doing that, then they know what's going to happen. But until I see that, you don't know what's going to happen. So one thing I wanted to go over. So we're definitely on the downtrend, and I wanted to talk about this real quick. The Dow Jones Industrial Average. This was today. We lost the worst point decline in the history of the Dow Jones. And this is big news for not only everybody who's holding stocks, their 401ks and everything, but this is big news for crypto too, because it's clear that crypto is not independent of the stock market. And I never really thought this was the case because I knew that this market cap was just too small for it to be inversely correlated to the stock market. And if we see another down day in the stock market, we're going to start seeing some panic selling. We're going to start seeing some real sell-offs. And I'm not going to go into the stock market stuff too much, but that could bring more downside to Bitcoin, because not only Bitcoin, but cryptos in general, because money is correlated in one person's mind, right? If you're losing your ass on Bitcoin and all your cryptos over the past few weeks, and then all of a sudden the stock market starts to take a hit, well, there's going to be more sellers, and that's going to continue. And so it's clear, since we broke down on the downside here, the sellers still have power. And this Bitcoin price where we're sitting at 6,500-ish, we're still at like almost 1,000% increase year over year from last year. And so that makes me think anybody who got in a year ago is still immensely profitable on Bitcoin. And that means that there's still a lot of selling power. And so my next support line that I see here is in the $5,000 to $6,000 range. And that's in between this 4 and this 3 wave here, this 4 wave here. Somewhere in here, there should be some support. And it's very difficult because this looks like a knife through butter and we are just slicing on the downside. And so it's very difficult to tell if this is a good buy zone, because if it slices through this buy zone, then we could be headed down to the $3,000 or the $2,000 range. And one thing I wanted to go over is Bitcoin's previous downfall back in 2013 when everybody who was invested in Bitcoin back here, they had some serious downside here. So where's my price range? So at our all-time high back then, and I won't count this. This is negative 92%. Where this candle reached. This is just the wick. It actually ended up closing way up here, but I will stop it here. And this is still an 85% decrease. And that's huge. So let's go back to where we're at right now. And I will give you an idea. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one again. Where is it? There it is. So right now we're sitting at a negative 67%. Which is still a major correction. But if you wanted to equal it to 87%, I mean, you're looking at a $2,500 Bitcoin. And I don't necessarily think it's going to last or it's going to go down this far, because I think there's more liquidity in the market. There's more people aware of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a better technology than it was back in 2013. And the market is bigger and stronger than it was in 2013. But I mean, I don't know. And nobody online does know, because past results don't dictate the future results. And so this is very well possible. And it's also possible we just continue down to where we were. Now, if we do get this low, I will be very happily buying at this level. I mean, that would precede the 2013 drop here. I mean, well, maybe not $166, but I mean, anything under 1,000 just seems like a steal to me. But I don't know, maybe more bad news comes out with these SEC hearings and all this stuff. The stock market keeps crashing and everyone's selling everything, but that's a decision you have to make on your own. But I wanted to go over one more thing real briefly, is the time that it takes for this stuff to happen. So from our peak to the bottom, 404 days. That's a long freaking time. Now, from our bottom to our first real bullish trend, 296 days. Okay. This is when we start making higher highs, higher lows, and we start seeing a little bit of an uptick. And then from then until real massive gain, and we'll look at the percentages on that because I'm curious too. So from the bottom here to the top here, 159%. That's how long this took. And that took 226 days, so about a year. And that's crazy gains in a year. And then we see what we're looking at now, and this is only our 2 wave, the bottom of our 2 wave. This is wild. This is wild stuff. And look how minuscule that looks. But this is why you can't look at the price. You have to look at the percentages, because that's what will dictate how this market is playing out. And I mean, this could have been a 1 wave, 2 wave, 3 wave, 5 wave up here, right? So, I mean, from the bottom here to the top, I mean, we're looking at 2,000%. And if we go back to the start of 2017, yeah, 2,100%. So, I mean, we can go back here and look at our retracements. If there is some support at this $5,000 level, somewhere in this range, we still have some downtrend to go. And with this news, the Dow Jones, we're going to have to keep an eye on this. And I think we're in for a bit of a ride. So I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts on everything that's happening. And it's very difficult to give you guys fundamentals on this because, like I said, this looks like a knife cutting through butter, and it's ticking in the wrong direction. And one thing I wanted to go over before I cut this video off is you can see that it is still highly volatile. 15% on the upticks. And yes, it's in a bearish manner, but even in these little 2-hour windows, people are making 8%. Even in this 1 30-minute window right here, 8%. People are making money in this market. And people will always find a way to make money in these markets because it's what they do. And this is one thing why I'm not freaking out so much about the Bitcoin price. I think it's fine if it continues to drop to 5,000, or it drops to 3,000, and then we get a healthy consolidation, just like we did back in 2013 and 2014 and 2015. It takes a year or however long it takes. That consolidation is where you can make a lot of money in these markets, and due to things like profit trailer or PT feeder. And I'm not trying to push that on anybody right now, especially in this downturn, but that's what I'm excited for. Once this trend stops, slows down, Bitcoin's not going away. Bitcoin's not going to zero. Even if it goes to a few $100, it's still there. There's still a market. There's still people who are going to be trading this thing. And as long as people are trading, there's money to be made. And that's the optimism that I want to bring to this market. No matter how low it goes, if you have 100,000 invested in Bitcoin and now it's worth, 20,000, there's still money to be made. I mean, look at this volatility all throughout it. And you're going to continue to see that, especially with the market cap at 300 billion and decreasing. So that's what I wanted to go over and touch on. But other than that, just kind of stay strong, and I hope we see a reversal pretty soon here. With that, I'll catch you guys in the next one.